Yeah. Steep quickly. Have I mentioned yet that I hate water crossings? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the little montage up front of some of the spills and crashes and some of the more decent sends today. It's been a good ride so far. I'm filming this about halfway through and the Kove's holding up great. I was originally planning to do a little bit more of the single track / ATV trails out here, but the amount of water and mud from the rain last night has really washed them out and made them a lot more difficult than I really want to get into with these stock tires. Now I am going to be switching out to new tires coming soon, but that's not going to be for a bit. Also, I'm solo today, so trying to take it a little bit easier, not get myself into things where I have to worry about having someone else help me out to actually get out of what I'm doing. But yeah, hope y'all enjoy. We're going to be doing Trail 717A and then whatever else I get into. You know what? Still having fun, still riding, getting out every chance I can. Hope y'all can do the same. Enjoy the video.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.
Alright, we're rolling. We are at the trailhead. Just finished switching some stuff around. As you can see, this bag is a little large right now. And that's just because I finally got myself a jersey. So I have the Moose XC1 underneath Lil O'Neill jersey. It's pretty cool out right now, but it'll definitely feel a lot better as we keep going. Let me turn the rear fuel off. Yeah, when I get to trailheads like this is usually when I'll throw the goggles on and then, you know, air down, change the GoPro battery out. Let's go. 717A.
did rain last night, so hopefully we have some good hero dirt and not mud. But yeah, like I was saying on the road, this is probably the last ride I'm going to be using these stock tires for and the stock gearing. Start using the new 51-tooth rear sprocket and see how that does on the road, and then the Tusk D Sports, see how those perform on and off road. Down in the wash here. Nice rain ruts have formed. But I feel like I did pretty good on that hill climb there. Woo! This deep gravel is the worst on these stock tires. And I'm really trying not to go through all the puddles because, again, none of my gear is waterproof. I have a rain suit in my little backpack if I need it, but riding trails, I'm not trying to put it on. End of the trail already. Oh, it continues. Just a little split. So what I wanted to talk about today was, at least briefly talk about while I'm riding, is making a transition from street to dirt riding, which is what I did. If you go back and see my little channel intro video, I talked about how I've been riding motorcycles for 8 years. All of that was street until a year ago when I had gone a little bit of time without a bike and wound up really missing it and wanting to get into ADV style riding. Ooh. So yeah, I was commenting on this guy's little Reddit post asking about it. The thing is, I feel like the transition going like the opposite way is a lot easier because the fundamentals that you need for off-road, really good clutch control and balance, everything like that, it translates really, really well to riding on the street. But street riding, besides like basic how to control a bike, ooh, I did not turn my rear track or ABS off. There we go. Anyway, besides the just like basics of how to ride a motorcycle, street riding in my mind doesn't really translate that well to dirt because of just the level of skill you need for each. I hope that little hill climb wasn't where I needed to go. But yeah, like the things that I got good at doing for riding on the street, for example, leaning with the bike through corners, or I'm sorry, yeah, leaning into the corners, and really like barely ever having to worry about the clutch except if I was in a parking lot or something. Then coming to off-road where your balance has to be on point, you have to be really, really good with the clutch control, and you're supposed to be keeping yourself upright to stay over the contact patch while you lean the bike around. It took me a while to get all that figured out. And yeah, if I took a course or a class or something, it might be a little easier. I'd probably figure things out faster, but it's hard for me to find the availability to do that kind of stuff. I'm a busy guy, barely find the time to ride when I want to on weekends. Pull my mirrors in too, I always forget that. Oh, and if it wasn't obvious, I got a steering stabilizer too. The Kove on the road is great. Like really for a bike that can do super difficult, well, I can't do it, but the bike can do super difficult off-road. It performs surprisingly well on the street. It's this deep gravel. Trying not to put my foot down in the water. There we go. But yeah, so for a bike that does so well off-road, it also performs very well on the street, but the front end wiggle that I was getting almost felt like miniature tank slappers when I was going over about 75 miles an hour. And also, as y'all saw on the Mount Baldy ride, the rocks throwing my bars around. I thought a steering stabilizer might be a good idea, and I'm liking it so far. This is the first time I'm really taking it off-road with it on there, so we'll see how it does. Woo! That puddle was deeper than I thought it was going to be. Ah, branch in the face. Should have kept the goggles on. And it was wet too. Also had some people on the last video and some shorts tell me to work on clutch control, and so offline when I got some time during the week I was doing drills Really trying to work on getting better at two-finger clutch. I feel like I've made some improvement, but still nowhere near where I want to be. Branch caught me good. Yeah, this is the kind of trail that I really enjoy. You know, last time I was all excited that I put ice in my Camelback, so I did it again this time, not even thinking about the temperature difference between that day and today. That water is chilly. To accept the puddles at this point, I think. Keep my eyes on the trail, maybe. You know, it's a good thing I was planning on washing the bike anyway. Getting back to the topic I want to kind of discuss, some of the difficulties I've had coming to off-road riding from the street. First off, traction is super weird to get used to off-road, or at least it was for me. It took me quite a while to get used to just kind of letting the bike dance around underneath me, do its thing, realizing that that was actually stable, because coming from the street, I'm expecting the bike to track perfectly straight, where I'm pointing it at all times. My inputs can be tight, precise, and the bike will go exactly where I want it to without really much correction. But when you start getting into dirt, oh man, it's like playing a constant game of, well, I pointed the bike that way, but I didn't want to go there, so now I have to try to do something about that. Ooh, it's got steep quickly. Tight in here. Let's get this up. Oh, she's sliding. Even in gear. Luckily these bags are waterproof. Oh yeah, sometimes does that. Kill the ignition, turn it back on. It always acts weird when it does the auto turn off when you drop it. There we go. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I got all in my head about it. Find a good spot on this trail to clean her off. Yeah, better here than anywhere else. Clean this off a little bit from the mud and get back. Didn't quite get it all, but I'm gonna wash it when I get back anyway. I just didn't want mud caked on my handguard and levers and stuck on these bags like that. Give her a good spray down when I get home. And I think I hear another bike or something up ahead, so take it easy through these next few corners. But yeah, those descents that are like rutted out right now, they're going to be probably the toughest spots today. Probably should have thought about doing the new tires before I came into this, but you know what? I'm not the smartest man, and I was a little impatient too because my rear stuff got in. Ooh, which way are we going? Left here? Anyway, my rear tube got in, but my front one didn't. And I have a spare front, but it's not the 3mm thick one that I bought. I really want to not have to worry about pinch flats as much with just a standard front tube. Okay. Have I mentioned yet that I hate water crossings? Well, that didn't feel good. Clip this rock. I think my skid plate saved me there. What I've learned now for these situations is sit back on the seat, get the rear traction, and then get back up pegs once I can get some momentum going. What am I doing? Hitting roots on an angle. Stupid. Straight stupid. Take my first break right here. Luckily, my boots came undone from that last fall. We are more than a few miles in at this point. Now we're about 30 minutes, 10 miles out from that ranger station that I want to go see. So, let's go do it. Take it a little slower down through this, since these have been tending to get washed out like that. And it's dancing my front and back end all around. Already got myself cross-rutted once or twice. Nice and easy. Just because of how steep this is. I know it doesn't really translate onto the GoPro that well, but I'll have the grip for that. Oh, it wouldn't be a Supreme Gooch video without me walking the bike down a hill. Washouts or whatever you want to call them. Huh. See, this trail isn't marked on the map, but I don't know if I'm supposed to be over there or here. I think this is the right way. Yeah, 717A. Man, every time I brush a tree with my arm, I'm just getting soaked. At least I'm not sweating like every other time. Going super easy through some of these puddles because this trail is covered in tree branches and all that goodness. I don't want to wind up having a surprise one knock me around in them. Alright, let's up a bit back from the hill climbs. I learned my lesson on that. Figure out which split I'm supposed to take. I walked down this little section of 717A, and it's really not a very long section. This downhill right here is pretty bad from the rain. Now, if I was with a group, I would probably try it and keep going down. But there's a little detour that makes my life a little easier. And you know what? I'm the master of my own destiny today, so I'm going to make the executive decision and do what I want to. So we'll get turned around here and then keep heading up this road. There we go. Going the wrong way? Yeah, I need to go the other way. Oh, the sun's finally peeking through. Yeah, this nasty washout kind of texture was like a foot or two deep through most of that downhill, and I'm just not in the mood to cover myself in mud. Wouldn't be an adventure without a little detour around a trail. Can't always do exactly what you planned. My GPS should catch up eventually. I'm in first gear. Honestly, I should sit and conserve energy here. Standing for most of that track. I consider that single track. Some people might get upset and say, no, it's an ATV trail. Well, it gets pretty dang tight. There's only one path, and dirt bikes on it, so I don't know. I'm getting a feel more for preventing myself from sliding into ruts down parts of the trail. It really is just, you need a bit more momentum with these tires than you would with anything else to hold that edge. There we go. She rerouted. But yeah, I'm excited to get the new ones on. See how those feel on dirt. I already know they're not going to be as good on the street. They're going to be pretty loud, but I'm willing to make that sacrifice so that I can actually hit the trails I want to a little bit harder. Let's try to stay clean. Going this way. Oh yeah, going back to the whole clutch thing, I was getting some crap in the last video for stalling all the time, and my clutch wasn't adjusted right, so I fixed that. The issue was, and I think I explained it within that hill climb that I failed, was the lever was touching my knuckles when I tried to use it with two fingers before it disengaged all the way. So I adjusted it out a little bit, and now it's perfect. Oh dear God, she do be steep. So let's get down into the rut and use my techniques. Thank you, Brett the Cax, or whoever it was from Moto Trek that made the video about doing this. Now that was more like a BMW, but for Muppets like myself who have no skills, it's super helpful to get down crazy steep stuff where I just know I'm not going to be able to get enough grip to stop at that corner down there. Yeah, look at that. There is no way that I stop in time to make that. I'm going flying off the trail. Even with the brakes on, I'm literally sliding. Just so you get an idea. Because, again, the footage is going to make this look like I'm creeping down absolutely nothing. Oh, thank God I didn't slip down in there. I'm going to have to here. And again, these tires just can't hold that edge. Huh? Yeah, maybe. On the rear a little too heavy there. Oh, the rain makes this look like I'm riding a riverbed. Gosh, I love birch trees. This is so pretty. This is part of why I love riding off-road. I'm out here for the adventure, to explore, and then side benefit is having fun on a bike. But I forget who it was. I think it was maybe Yummy Noob. I don't know. Some YouTuber posted about like, what kind of rider are you? and I definitely fall into the exploring, and then secondarily meditation, and then thirdly adrenaline seeking. But the adrenaline part is definitely lower on the list for me. I'm just out here to see the world, explore these great trails, have a little fun. And it's so peaceful. Like, literal definition of a weekend warrior, because I only really get to ride longer than like an hour maybe on the weekends. I can get an hour in if I'm lucky during a weekday, but most of the time not. Occasionally I'll take the bike to commute, but alright, time to figure out the trail, because this little valley meadow thing we got going on here is beautiful. I don't know exactly where I'm going. How's this look? Yeah, this is the way I would have to go. Now that looks a lot more amenable to me. Big ol' hill climb right after too. Sheesh. I hate water. I hate water. But this is too deep, so we'll go through. Alright. Give myself a good run up for this. Here. Am I supposed to go straight up that? That's kind of crazy. Let's go take a little peek-see. There's a easier line literally just to the left. I'm just gonna do that. It was still a pretty steep hill climb, dang. I was using the, what I was just watching some videos about, where trying to crouch down and get over the back of the bike to get the rear wheel more traction. Let the front skip around a little bit. Still feels pretty sketchy to do that. Not gonna lie. Even after all this time riding off-road, still don't like it when I lose traction like that. Oh, campsite. Ooh. This would be a cool place to come camping. Maybe do a little moto camping. Already have a different site marked out somewhere else. But now that I know that that is like already on this road, right next to all the trails in this area, it'd be a pretty good base camp. There's another one. I'm gonna go ahead and mark that on the map for me for future reference. They're empty with how crappy the weather was last night. Man, I don't think I've left first gear in quite a while. And we'll make the right here. This is usually a pretty fun trail. The only issue with this one specifically is because of its location and the width requirement on it, it's usually swarmed by side-by-sides on the weekends. I think I'm out here before they're even awake, because those dudes can't be drinking a beer and throwing the empties out the side while they're ripping around blind corners. Then they don't want to be out here. Degens. Oh, look at that, we're finally in second gear. But yeah, this one has pretty good jumps on it. About now is when I'm super glad I finally got Jersey, because the airflow is so nice. I'm starting to get a little bit sticky, icky, and sweaty in all the slow stuff. Cruising through here, need a little bit of space to cool down. Sit, just kind of take a chill. See how I'm doing on time when I get to the ranger station, because I'm definitely making it there, but I might not be able to do everything else as far as the trails that I wanted to today. The Puddles. took this trail was with both of the boys. I think it's a YZ250 and Beta 430, and we just came ripping up this thing to go connect the single track in the area. Fun times. Ooh, a little rough on the other side of that. And then I've done it once, or actually I've done it a few times other than that, but one of the other times came with a F900 GS, and he was hitting these jumps and bottoming the crap out of his suspension, having a grand old time. But yeah, none of the people could get out and ride today. Two main dudes are out of town, and then my little group that I run for like local adventure rides has been pretty quiet and pretty dead lately. Let's hit this one pretty good. Woo! Not too much fun. You gotta make sure I don't miss my turns. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of pull-offs on this road where people park up and unload quads and dirt bikes and the side-by-sides that we all loathe. But yeah, my thought process when I'm riding alone is a little different than when I have, you know, another person or a group with me. I still want to have some fun, but at the same time, I don't want to get into anything that I can't get out of alone. Bouncing around back there. I really need to get a rack for those, or like the rackless support that they make for the Kove, because they do be bouncing all over the place. I feel them hitting my legs when I hit bumps. Standing up, I gotta convince myself to take it easy. I check the battery every time I stop, but the aftermarket batteries that I got that have a little bit more capacity, this is the second time I've run into this issue, they always read at 100%. So from now on, I'm just gonna have to remember, after an hour, change them out, throw them on the charger. I got my tank bag. Oh well, there's worse spots it could have happened. almost caught me. Big screw off puddle. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to get in there with the seal buddy tonight. So when I first got this bike and started riding it off-road, the majority of my falls were caused by the seat height more than anything. The XR is still fairly tall, but the difference is that the suspension on the XR is way softer. So I would sit on it and it would squat itself down, and I really had no issues reaching the ground. And with this, I learned very quickly I have to be pretty deliberate about where I'm putting my feet. Now, I'm 6 feet tall, got about 33, 34 inch inseam. So it's not like I'm a short guy struggling to reach the ground. Like, I can still get the balls of my feet down most of the time. But it was the like off camber kind of situations, or stopping right where there was a hole that my foot would go into and then tip the bike over. Just dumb stuff. All that to say, they do make the low seat variant of this, and if you're looking into getting one, last time I went out and was hitting all those crazy rocks, I had a zip tie on the bottom of my front fork to show me how much my suspension was compressing, how much of it I was using, because I think this thing's got about a foot of travel and I was only using about half. I'm gonna cut through here. So the suspension on this thing is insanely good. That is what everyone is always raving about for it. And they're not wrong, but I definitely am playing with the clickers a little bit. And then when I wash it, after I get home from this, I'm going to get my sag set correctly again. Losing weight right now, already down about 10 pounds to 190 from 200. Although, I don't know if I was over 200 by a little bit. I might have been. That's another part of why I'm running out of energy so quick on these rides. Because pretty much the week before I got the GoPro is when I started my cut. And good little wheelie there. I actually managed it. Anyway, so about a week before I got the GoPro is when I started my cut, and as always, when you're cutting weight, your energy levels just plummet. So I'm starting to get back to like a little bit of equilibrium where I have some more energy to do some things, but it's still not the best. Alright, this is the way it wants me to go. Let's double check. more miles. Oh, I really want to not hit the rocks there. Up here. Alright. I see a tire track there crossing. I'm going to try to follow that. Damn goggles fogging again. If anyone has a good solution to prevent goggles from fogging up, please throw it in the comments for me, because I've tried that spray that they put on hockey visors to keep them from fogging, and some other stuff. Oh, we're in the rut. That rear tire slid around without me even touching the brakes. Good thing I'm a master at waddling the bike at this point down hills. Feel weird. It's not flat. It just feels like it's tracking side to side a lot more than it was. Dirt biker came through here before. Thank you, sir, for showing me all the lines. Definitely not that way. Now that is a deep freaking puddle. I've been through here before. I think it's down in there pretty good. I think there might be some rocks too. We're gonna have to go through and hope for the best. Let's get a stick and check this out actually. Yeah, that's rocky down there. Probably 6 or 8 inches deep. Just right here, and I know it gets more through the center. Along the left side that I was checking with a long stick, and checked it out like right over here, and it's probably 8 inches to a foot deep right there in the middle. If I get wet, I'm just going home, man. Boots are already a little wet, but my feet aren't, which is really what I'm trying to avoid. Send it, I guess. And hey, if this is a short and I just said send it, send it as fast as I can, not as fast as Paul Torres or Graham Jarvis or one of those dudes, all right? Oh yeah, definitely got her on the boots there, but stayed on the outside, so hopefully my feet are dry. again. Let's go over here. I feel like I'm doing a lot better today about not stalling the bike. I've also gotten a lot more confident with rocks like this. Yeah, I'm avoiding them right now just because I don't want to stand up, but before I would have been freaking out, and now it's like, that's kind of nothing. My tire can roll over that. I don't know exactly how tall of an obstacle I can just roll the tire over. Probably figure it out eventually, but pretty dang tall. 21-inch tires do that. That jerky on off throttle that everyone complains about. Trail before. Good old 717B. Don't know what I'm doing with the hand signals, you should start doing them. It's for the knowledge of the other riders on the trail, especially when you're in a group. A closed fist means I have no one else behind me in my group. One finger means I have one more, two fingers two more, three fingers three more, so on, so on. And then if you're above 5 people behind you, you got absolutely a massive group you're riding with, you still do just a 5. Until it gets down to the person who is the last. It looks like our dirt biker friend went up here. I unfortunately don't have the grip speed or angle to do that, so we're gonna have to go through this. I don't know how deep that rock goes in. Wish me luck, I guess. And try to stick to the middle. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. What I might need to start bringing on rides when I know it's going to be wet is a dry pair of socks. I need to throw on when I get back on the road after. That would be a smart idea, but I unfortunately don't have many of those. Until it's already too late. Where's it at? Where on earth is this old ranger station? I wanted to go check it out. Seems like I just missed it. Might have been in that gully back there, so I'm gonna go see if I can find this. Definitely not going through that water. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about with the zip tie. That I have not touched since I put it up here. So that is as far down as my front suspension is traveling. I'd really like it to be here ideally. Leave like an inch at the bottom. So I'm gonna have to mess with that. Break there to try to find the old abandoned ranger station. Could not find it. I think it is completely collapsed. Couldn't even find a remnant or a log or anything. And then a whole bunch of side-by-side people decided to stop right there too. And they were blasting music and drinking beer and doing burnouts and throwing mud all over my bike and gear. So that was great. Lovely interactions with the degenerates as usual. But we're gonna start heading for the exit now. Not taking the same way in. Trying to see if I can take the scenic route out. Most of it is, like I said earlier, I don't like repeating parts of trails that I've already done if I don't have to. Just going in reverse, it's, I don't know, I find it pretty boring. So, gonna head on up this way, managed to avoid that insanely deep water crossing, and hopefully I don't run into one where I do have to turn around. Also, I probably caught it in the footage, but someone running these trails? Oh my lord, I could never. As much as I want to see the nice things and explore, and you know, this is kind of a good workout. Ooh, I did really good on that. Using leg power over gas power is not really sounding like a good time. part of the 717. I don't think that was on my route at all, but more the single track in the area. I'm definitely going to come back and do some of that when I'm with the guys. It's just such a fun trail, and actually that trail is where my little YouTube profile picture was taken at. Sitting up on top of a rock that you can climb on top of with your bike. It's pretty cool. But we're heading for the Phantom Creek Trailhead. And if you remember, we came in at the Trail Creek Trailhead. But once we hit Phantom Creek, should just be pretty straight shot on the road to get back. So it's already looking like 10, 20. Probably take me another hour to get out of here, and then another hour back. You know, you could say nice things about, whatchamacallit? Oh, the Hero Dirt. Yeah, you can say nice things about it all you want, but I prefer, not to be wading through lakes constantly when I'm out riding. Shit. I didn't even realize my rear ABS is on. It has been since the last time I turned the bike off. I literally, while I was walking up to go look at the non-existent ranger station, reminded myself that I had forgotten to turn the rear ABS back off, and I needed to do that. I was riding along these trails with it on, and then I forgot to do it again. What a dummy. doing my street thing there, leaning into the corner, so tilting the bike over, and I could immediately feel less grip. Staring right in front of the front wheel instead of looking out ahead of the trail. I'm remembering as I think about it from when I was first making the transition from street to dirt was I thought no matter how tough the terrain was, you're supposed to stand off-road. So pretty much the entirety of the first ride that I did off-road, I was standing for all the easy sections. And by the time I got to the spot where there was some water bars in the road, or little whoops, or whatever you want to call them, I was so gassed out that I couldn't even move with the bike anymore. And I literally had to just sit there and absorb it with like my spine. Definitely not the right answer. I've definitely learned now to sit whenever I can. Yeah, perhaps it's going this way. Ooh, did that where bumping all over the place. The trail, there's gravel that doesn't want to give me any grip. I'm not going to stand up, obviously, or if it's rocky or technical or anything like that. But for like this kind of stuff, sit down, save my legs for when I need them. Although I am still doing my best to move with the bike. Not as visible because the GoPro is doing that image stabilization thing that it does. felt the steering stabilizer helping me out there. Front wheel was kicking back and forth pretty good on those little bumps, and it was really keeping my bars from shaking too bad. We'll see when I get to this trailhead how I'm feeling. I might, depending on time, try to hit another little ATV trail, single track type deal. Or if I see one along here that takes me in the general direction I'm trying to go. Giving it power. I've heard early is better than late. Street bikes, I didn't have to use as much skill to pop the front wheel. All you did was really hammer the throttle and the front would lift right up. It's got good grip in the back. You got like no travel in the suspension. You got way more power. But on this, even with it not being, you know, insanely heavy or anything, fairly light considering some of the other adventure bikes out there, but not necessarily for a dirt bike. And the tiny amount of grip you get at the rear wheel off-road, it takes so much more work using the suspension to kind of bounce yourself. Sign. Come on, Gooch. pull over here and take a break and swap the GoPro batteries. Another little campsite. Well, that break is over. Let's get back on the trail. We're almost out of here. I can definitely tell I'm going to have to do a decent amount of cleaning when I get home because my brakes are squeaking from the mud. But that's fine. I want it nice and clean anyway for when I switch the tires out. My new front tube should be coming in today, so fingers crossed next weekend's ride I should be tackling a little bit more of the ATV trail single track kind of stuff instead of more open roads like this. Because really this barely qualifies as off-road. I subscribe to the dork in the road philosophy of if it's not pavement, it's off-road. But at the same time, this is really not challenging enough, and I'm also constantly concerned that a side-by-side is going to come flying around a corner and kill me. I want to be on the trails where they're not allowed. Those dudes living their best life. Yeah, right now all I'm thinking about is heading out, going to get some lunch. Debating if I can uphold the tradition, because every time we come to this spot with my buddies, we go to Taco Bell after. I don't know if I'm really up for that. I'm going to be sad going there alone. We'll see. I could definitely crush a crunch wrap, but at the same time, my weight loss goals don't really allow for the amount of calories I'd want to eat there. Whew, good spray there. Didn't really have a choice. And this is the trailhead. Wow, that was pretty quick. Phantom Creek Trailhead. Pay for your OHV registration, folks. That's what pays for stuff like this and trail maintenance. This is a nice thing you just back your pickup to, and then you can load your bike right down the ramp. You don't even have to bring a ramp with you. So nice. Mirrors up, street jacket on. I didn't even bother taking my jersey off. I just threw the jacket on over it, and then my goggles came off and the visor went on. Because we're about to go hit some road, and this is a pretty fun twisty one that we're heading to right now. I really enjoy the ride out here. But yeah, while I was stopped, I was pointing out the trail map stuff and, you know, elaborating on how you should pay for the OHV sticker. It's only like 15 bucks, I think, or 20. And some dirt bikers also stopped because they thought there was something wrong with my bike. I was over there parked at the trailhead. It's like, guys, you see me changing in real time. I'm good, but you know, thanks for the concern. I appreciate it. Gotta look out for each other. One thing I haven't done yet is need to air up the tires when we hit pavement. Although honestly, you know, like 18 psi, I might just wait until after I get lunch. I'm trying to make good time right now. Like I said, it's supposed to rain starting at noon up here. You can see the clouds starting to come in. And it is 11 o'clock right now, so I think if I'm good with my time, I can beat the rain into town. And it's not supposed to start raining in the springs until 1 or 2. So if I can get back into town and then get out of there within like 30 minutes, I should be good. Though it might be like right as it started. And if anyone didn't notice, reprinted the phone mount for like the little rally tower extension. The last one I had, I was looking at, and you know, I don't know who's going to care about this, but if you do 3D printing, you'll understand what I'm saying. So it didn't extrude full width lines on the inside for the infill. Like, it wasn't 100%, and they were aligned. So it was all one direction and not solid. So the inside of this was like all strings, pretty much holding it together. So this one I redid, making sure I did 100% infill, and I checked on it quite a few times, and I was also making sure it was crisscrossing back and forth for the best strength. So it's still PLA plus. I wanted to do it out of carbon fiber nylon that I have laying around, but I can't get that stuff to stick to the bed. It's just so annoying to print with. I have to set up a whole enclosure, preheat, I have to dry that shit for days before I even use it. It's just a giant pain to use, and you know what? I like the Adam Savage approach on a lot of things, which is buy the cheapest tool that'll do the job, and then when you wear that one out, buy the most expensive version you can afford. So yeah, I wore out the last phone mount bracket, but I'm going to see how this one does, just because that last one wasn't done very well. And you know what, if this one lasts a long time, great. If it doesn't, then I'll go ahead and buy myself a proper rally tower to replace the plastic one here. They're not insanely expensive, it's just work that I didn't really feel like doing. Off this time. But yeah, I figured the last tower just broke because of the constant heat cycles it goes through. It deforms over time, and then also when I first installed it, the bolts that hold the ram ball on I had with the nut behind it instead of in front, and the issue I ran into there is they were actually pressing against the plastic of the tower, like the bike's tower, and forcing it to bend the printed piece. So after I noticed that, because it wasn't clipping on all the way, I flipped them around, but the damage had already been done and it was a little bit weaker, especially on the sides that grip each side of the tower and click into place. Now, I thought this turned into pavement at some point. Maybe I'm thinking of a different out. Forest Service. How you doing? Another one. Man, I'd love to have a house like this. Little cabin, chilling up in the mountains. Am I supposed to be going this way? Yeah, this is turning into pavement. This is what I remember. This is like a super twisty, fun road to ride on. But the issue is there's gravel in a lot of the corners. I'm still gonna one cheek on the seat, lean myself off. I'm not trying to drag me. But this bike is fun as hell on the street too, for this kind of stuff. Set up inside. Don't lie to me, tips maintenance. I just did an oil change. I must have forgotten to reset that. Unless it's yelling about something else. Hopefully not. I use a little app on my phone to keep track of maintenance items. And I think last time I forgot to reset the counter on the bike when I changed the oil. Probably should turn my rear ABS back on. Just touched the rear brake and only realized after what I could have done there. Mid-corner trail braking without ABS. Little sketch, just a touch. That is such a fun road. The GoPro died back there, which is why the footage cut out. But as you can see, we made it back into town just fine. No issues. There's a little lunch, and then the rain should be starting back there here within like the next 10-15 minutes. I'm pretty happy about how today went. Hope you all enjoyed the ride. Now I got to get back and clean the bike and mount the new tires and get this video all put together. So Spur Dude signing off. It's got steep quickly. Have I mentioned yet that I hate water crossings?